statutory transfer, and 2,951,710 naira only is for debt service. 4,938,269,251,934 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 2,488,789,433,344 naira only is for contribution for the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2020. Other members will recall that the report was laid on Wednesday, 9 June 2020. And I'll call on Honorable Muktar Betara to move for its consideration.
Muktar Betara Aliyu. I represent the good people of the Shani. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Borno State. Right Honorable Speaker, right Honorable colleagues, that the House do consider the report of Committee on Appropriation on a bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 to authorize the issue for Consolidated Revenue Fund for the Federation of the total sum of 10,801,544,664,642 naira only, of which 422,775,979,362 naira only is for statutory transfers. 2,951,710,000,000 only is for debt services. 4,938,261,251,904 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 2,488,789,433,344 naira only is for contribution for Developmental Fund for expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2020. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
I rise to second the motion as moved by the Chairman, Appropriation. I so second. Thank you.
Betara, aka Head Boy, seconded by Honorable Faleke, aka Baba Ilabe. Please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Honorable Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. And by the grace of God and the leave of the members of this House, the leader of the 9th House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move as directed that this House do resolve into the Committee of Supply to consider reports. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Constituency, I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion as moved by the second-time House Leader. I so second.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Was read the second time on Thursday, 28 May 2020, and was referred to Committee on Appropriations for further legislative action after the debate on the general principles. The bill seeks to authorize the issuance of Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation for the sum of 10,509,644,33,054 naira only. The background that the 2020 appropriation bill was passed into law by the National Assembly on Thursday, 5th December 2019, in the sum of 10,594,362,364,830 naira only. and was assented by Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. However, before its implementation could be properly commenced, especially the capital components of the budget, the world began to witness the coronavirus, that is the COVID-19 pandemic, which ravaging nations and is negatively impacting the global economy and disrupting budgets, including socio-economic assumptions. The impact of this disease in Nigeria is huge, as it impacted crude oil production as well as other price of the commodity, which accounts for the greater part of our foreign exchange earnings. All the assumptions upon which the 2020 Appropriation Act was based have been disrupted, given the sharp decline in the price of crude oil and other production output caused by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, that is OPEC. This was the result of the decline in the foreign earnings. With the pandemic, there is also a decline in stagnation of the economic productive activities, with the attendance of huge loss of custom and exercise, including the value-added tax and other sources of federal collective revenues. This situation, in which rightly be considered to be the period of the economic and social emergency, stated the need for the revenue expenditure projection for the year ending. Given these circumstances and the nature of the amendment sought and limited to provide the committee to report to the leadership of the National Assembly in conjunction with the Committee on Appropriation in both the chambers, engage the executive in all aspects of this bill. This report is thus outcome of the interactions and the invaluable contributions made by honorable members during the second reading debate on the bill. Throughout the processing of the bill, the committee worked with the Senate counterpart to produce the harmonized report. Revenue projections. In processing the bill, the committee was also guided by approved amendment to the revenue projection by the National Assembly as contained below. Observation. In analysis to the bill, the committee observed that there were cuts in all items in the statutory transfers. One. Second, there was an increase in the debt service. The third one, there was a general reduction in the overhead and capital components of the budget, excluding the health sector. There are reductions to zero provisions to some projects in the capital components. There are also provisions to especially the service-wide boards, the capital supplementation to cushion the socio-economic disruption in the shock of COVID-19. Additional requests for the fund for inclusion in the appropriation. While considering the bill, the committee received requests from the executive to include the inadvertently omitted inadequate provisions for the projects and programs in the bill as follows. COVID-19 fund, 186,370,000. Contingency recurrent, 7,500,000. Contingency capital, 5 billion. No. Okay, 7,500,000,000. Contingency capital, 5 billion. Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization, 4,099,648,171. Where the letters were given to Mr. Speaker to the House. The committee reiterates the fact that any spendings by the federal government from whatever source has been appropriated within Section 80, subsection 81 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, equally, I need to just give a brief to the House on the issue of our little delay where people could not see the increment to the health sector. The health sector was captured within the MTEF, where we requested the executive to write a letter to the Honorable Speaker so that we can transfer monies for health sector back to the budget so that it will reflect to the budget. So they wrote a letter to the Speaker to take 186 billion from MTEF back to the budget, where we have 126 billion out of it for the health in COVID-19. It reflects in the service-wide board.
Like on Monday, 15th, they are withdrawing all their doctors from isolation centers and hospitals. We met for about 3 hours. One of their major complaints was the issue of Residents Doctors Act, which is not being implemented. It was passed in 2017 and is not being implemented. What is the implementation problem? It's not funded. It's not funded, so the resident doctors are not getting paid for their training and all of that. So, whatever we do in this budget, I think there are even agreements signed by the ministers since last year, 8 months ago, and yet it did not come in the budget. So when we're talking about COVID, we're talking about frontliners, then what are we talking about if we cannot pay our resident doctors? So whatever we do, we need to find their 4 billion in this budget. So you will advise us at what point, at what stage do we get their 4 billion, under what subhead? I think it has to go to service-wide votes. Better still. Huh? Yeah. It's very important.
Honorable Speaker, as where the executive requested for 16-point-something billion out of it, I said I would discuss with him so that we take the 4 billion from there equally to add it to the health budget.
Transfers, 422 billion. Please, let me know at what point you want us to bring in this amendment for these resident doctors. Let me know at what point. You will bring up the amendment. Okay. Statutory transfers, 422 billion, 775 million, 979, 362. Carried. Debt service, 2,951 billion, 710 million naira. Carried. The recurrent non-debit expenditure, go to the federal executive bodies. Okay?
Because of the amendment of the other one there.
Because of the amendment that we're trying to do, we'll skip that and we'll go to the federal executive bodies, and then we'll come back to the total allocation for the federal executive bodies is 536 billion 717 450 127. Carried. Let's go back to clause 50. The subtotal for the executive, 3,061,495,250,627. Carried. What's the next one?
That's what I'm saying, that's addition.
The strike by the doctors, and to avoid our health system being jeopardized, and following the several agreements reached by the Resident Doctors Association, in line with their hazard allowances, I hereby move that we add the total allowances running to 4 billion under service-wide vote, which should be recorded under service-wide vote. I so move.
When you break it down and include this particular.
If you want to take the 16 point something from the $3 additional, We have it.
Yeah. I think what to the service-wide votes for the recurrent expenditure of the resident to fund the Resident Doctors Act for the resident doctors. Carried. Raised all the way to clause 50, so we'll just go clause by clause. We've been able to reduce some time. We'll go to the federal executive bodies, but I feel we already considered that. We have to go from 57. We already took that 500. Okay, 51, Code of Conduct, 2175-261-924. Carried. Code of Conduct Tribunal, 663-673-664. Carried. Federal Character Commission, 2,645,633,751. Carried. Federal Civil Service Commission, 1,003,902,788. Carried. Police Service Commission, 722,067,628. Carried. Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, 2,121,371,188. Carried. The subtotal is 9,331,932,943. Carried. Government-owned enterprises, 308-412-676-814. And the total allocation is 536,717,450,127. Office of the Head of Civil Service, Civilian Pension, 48897-287,441. Gratuities, 2,300 million. Carried. Pensions, 46467-287,441. Pensions running cost 130,000,000. We go to the military pensions and gratuities. Number 59, pension 217593565,984. Carried. 12649 pensions 126492195,623. Carried. Expected retirees 17,917,600,447. Benefits 23,191,554,357. Administrative charges and running costs 150 million. Medical retirees 1,259,074,576. Arrears of 2017 to 2018 pension 43,800,692,518. Arrears of 2017-2018 gratuity 4,782,448,463. NHIS for military retirees 10,478,762. Carried. Military retirees arrears 2014 to 2018 5,953,077,2162. Carried. NHIS military retirees, including arrears, 4,524,923,545.7. Carried. Pensions and gratuities, 400,255,916. 2018 arrears, 30,267,023. Pension, 66,089,619. Gratuity, 218 arrears, 3,597,633. Gratuity, 270,301,641. Administrative charges, including verification, 30 million. Okay, so we go to police pensions and gratuities and 7,408,000,000 carried. Pensions 7,308,000,000. Running costs for pensions, 100 million. Customs, immigration and prisons, 8,311,000. Pensions, 8,211,000. Pensions running costs, 100 million. University pensions, including arrears, 13,629,524,126. The pensions, 13,629,524,126. Parastatals pensions and railway pensions, 26,756,754,031. Pensions, 26,756,754,031. Carried. Okay. Department of State Security, 13,100 and without doing the breakdown. If anybody has any objection to the breakdown, once you see the breakdown, you can. So yeah, Nigerian Intelligence Agency total is 4,365,518. NEMCO total is 16,879,348,775. Other pensions total is 168,838,035,824. Okay, we go to other service-wide votes. Amendment.
My name is Tobi Okechukwu. I represent Neri of Gojiriba Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, in line with the challenges our armed forces are having, and in view of the fact that we are not willing to be paying for doing social intervention or palliatives, I'm suggesting that we move the sum of 200 billion from special intervention program recurrent from the sum of 350 billion, that we move 200 billion to defense so that our armed forces will be sufficiently equipped. And so move. Line number 110. No, we are doing
on codes, and based on every line item, such money is released, and that release is tagged against that line item. But there is one abuse to our appropriation, and if we allow it, we'll end up coming here, pass this budget, go out of this place, and then the executive will do what they want. Through this tagging, the illegal tagging. Tagging is legitimate in budget, that's why you have line item. So the money, specific money is tagged against a line item and is released to the agency to implement the budget. But what is happening now is these agencies, through some shenanigans within the executive or within the agencies or within the Ministry of Finance, particularly some influential offices, they tag money against a line item or specific line items. They say special projects or their project of interest, and then they will leave a number of line items in the budget, and then they release the money for some few line items and tag the money and leave the rest. And that's why we have continuous, ongoing project because of this selective tagging.
What is that mean?
I think
Exactly.
the chairman appropriation should step into this, look into it, because it's an abuse of the Appropriation Act. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Tagging has been abused, more or less. Selective, yeah, that's abused, yeah. Selective tagging. Okay, so what would be the amendment?
It's a breach. Do you know, Mr. Chairman, there are some line items that 100% release was made in first quarter, and others were zero.
Let me, because a lot of members are saying no, and we appropriate for several bodies. To what extent do we really have the power of appropriation if at the end of the day, it is the Ministry of Finance that is determining who gets what. So it kind of curtails your power of appropriation. They have the ultimate power. They have the ultimate power of appropriation by this tag system. There's a conflict somewhere. Maybe there can be a clause that the tagging shall be, the tagging system, which you still have to do, because there will be priority projects, shall be in conjunction with the...
Allow this illegality to continue. I'm telling you, our Appropriation Act will be useless. What is tagging? I want to know what is tagging and accounting. If they want to release money, they should release money across board.
Clause 9, 10. Honorable Babangida.
NFIU can return part of what is generated for the purpose of the operation. But if you look at the clause, it's saying for this fiscal year. We don't make a law that is temporary. For this fiscal year, if you look at the end of the statement, it's for this fiscal year, which means it's temporary arrangements. So I'm of the opinion, it's either we amend the EFCC Act to accommodate it, or we amend the Fiscal Responsibility Act to put it under the schedule of operating surpluses. It's very important. So if we are going to allow them to return 10% of whatever they generate, number one, it's contrary to operating surplus as contained in Fiscal Responsibility Act. So if we want to be specific on EFCC and FIU, then we have to go to the Act and amend it to make it permanent. Thank you.
12. 13.
I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, you will recall that on Thursday, 28 May 2020, a communication from the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, requesting for approval of the House for external borrowing was read and referred to this committee for further legislative action. The committee observed that the financing is being sourced by multilateral and bilateral global donor lenders and partners with proven track record of previous financial accommodation and support to the federal government. The committee also notes that the borrowing will not take our public debt stock outside the self-imposed ceiling of 25% of debt to gross domestic product, where the recommended percentage by the World Bank and IMF for our country peer group still remain at a far away 55%. The committee therefore resolved as follows: that the House do approve the external borrowing of the sum of $5.513 billion from the following multilateral and bilateral institutions. 1, International Monetary Fund, $3.4 billion. Purpose is for rapid financing instrument to part finance the federal government 2020 revised budget deficit. Number 2, World Bank, $1.5 billion. Purpose is to develop for the development of policy financing to part finance federal government of Nigeria 2020 revised budget also. African Development Bank, $500 million. This is for COVID-19 crisis response, also to support the revised budget deficit of 2022. Then Islamic Development Bank will provide $130 million to also finance the revised 2020 budget deficit. 2, that the terms and conditions of the loans from each lender as are contained in a duly executed loan agreement be forwarded to the National Assembly for proper documentation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my dear colleagues.
Carried. Clause 2. Leader. The House and the Committee of Supply consider the report of the Committee on Appropriations on a bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 10,801,544,664,642 naira only, of which 422,775,979,362 naira only is for statutory transfers, of 2,488,789,433,344 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure in the year ending 31st December 2020, and clauses 1 to 13 approved, the schedules as amended, and the long title of the bill as amended. I think we also considered in Committee of Supply the report of the Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management on the request for approval of external loans to finance the Federal Government of Nigeria proposed revised 2020 budget deficit, and approved clauses 1 and 2 of the report. Please move for the adoption of the report.
That the House do adopt the report of the Committee on Supply. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I so move. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Delta State, arise to second the motion that will do adopt the report as moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those in favor of the adoption of the report, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.